video lesson for 1-5, grade 7. This is video B. So today, it's I can divide positive and negative decimals. What that means is the difference between this and integers is you're going to have to work with decimals on top of integers. But what's cool is notice that the sign rules don't change. So what you learned in the first video still applies. So let's start with this example. If I have a negative, let's see, maybe 12.6, and I want to divide that by 2, okay? The first step is still the same. Determine the sign. Okay, so we're determining the sign. And I know that a negative divided by a positive number means I'm going to have a negative quotient or negative answer. The second step stays the same. Do the division. Okay, I'm going to have to go to another slide to deal with this because it's going to take room. But we have 12.6 divided by 2, or negative 12.6. So negative 12.6 divided by 2. I'm first going to rewrite that knowing my answer is going to be negative 12.6 divided by 2. And remember, once I know that the sign, what the sign of my answer is going to be, I'm not too worried about keeping those positive and negative signs while I'm doing the math, because that can just kind of throw me off. See if I can get my pen to work right here. Okay, so 2 goes into 1 no times, but 2 does go into 12 6 times. So we write a 6 above the number that it went in. We multiply back and we get 12. We have 0 left over. Then we bring down. Now here's a crucial step that a lot of 7th graders will make a mistake on. The decimal point goes right above where it is in the number under the roadway. It goes right above that in the answer. Okay? So now, how many times does 2 go into 6? Well, it goes into 6 3 times. And 3 times 2 is 6. There's nothing left over. So the answer here is a negative 6 3/10. Don't forget that sign. Make sure you take care of the sign. So doing the division here is really no different than long division, except we just have a decimal point to put up in the answer. So that's one example problem. But the next example problem is a little trickier, but very doable still. Okay? What if we had a problem written like this? 63 divided by a negative 4.5. Well, oh, wait. Sorry, I meant to say 6.3. Okay, that makes our life a little bit better here. Okay, so 6.3 divided by a negative 4.5. Well, we've got a decimal in both numbers now, but we still want to set it up the same. Knowing our answer is going to be negative because we have a positive divided by a negative number, we set up our division. Remember, 63 divided by negative 4.5, or 6.3, sorry, I'll get this right, would look like this, but it would also look like this. Okay, I'm going to erase this to give myself some room, and I'm going to erase the sign since I already know what the sign of my answer is going to be. But here's the trick. It's really hard to think, my gosh, how many times does 4.5 go into 6.3? I don't know. Well, here's the trick. The first step with problems like these is to move the decimal point. Until the divisor, vocabulary word, divisor, is whole. So the number on the outside, this is called the divisor. And so I'm just going to move the decimal point to the right until it's a whole number. Now it's 45. So I've got 45 into 6.3. But at this point, you might be raising your hand going, Mr. Brazar, you made a mistake. And I hope you are, because however many times I move the decimal point on the divisor, I also have to move it in the number under the roadway. So if I moved it once out here, I got to move it once out here. So instead of 6.3, this becomes 63. So I moved it once out here, so I got to move it once in here. Really quick, I want to make sure you know what's going on. All I'm doing, I'm going to rewrite the problem like a fraction here. All I'm doing when I move the decimal point is I'm multiplying the the numerator and the denominator by 10. That moves my decimal point to the right one time in both numbers. It's totally acceptable to multiply the numerator and denominator in a fraction by the same number. In this case, we wanted to multiply by 10 so that the 4.5 could become 45. Okay, now let's do the math. 45 goes into 63 one time. Multiply back. Subtract. Oh, I kind of got to borrow here, so this becomes a 5. This becomes a 13. So that'd be 18. Oh, show that decimal point. Add that 0. Bring it down. Put the decimal point above its new location in the number under the roadway. Okay. 45 goes into 180 probably 3 times. And I don't know how to multiply that back very well, so I'm going to do that on paper. 3 times is 13, so 135. Oh, I bet I could add another 45 in there. Can I? Can I get away with that? Oh my gosh, by golly, it's not 3, it's 4. My gosh. Okay, I just figured that out for the first time. I'm learning stuff here too. Okay, 45 actually goes into 185 times, and I figured that out. Oh, not 5 times, silly. 4 times. There we go. Okay, so I figured that out because I did 3 times 45 was 135. I thought, oh, you know what? I bet I could add another 45 in there. And sure enough, I got 180. So when I multiply back, I got 0 left over. So what does this mean? Well, it means that 6.3 divided by a negative 4.5 is a negative 1. Ooh, my marker's not working. 1.4. There we go. So the first thing we did, we moved the decimal point until the divisor was whole. Then we did the division. This video is about over, but I just want to prove something to you. If I got a problem like 1.2 divided by 3.4, that's not, let me change this example here. Got that a little mixed up. Okay, here we go. If I have a number like 3.6 divided by 1.2, and I multiply the numerator and denominator by 10 to make the divisor a whole number, I get 36 divided by 12. And so we would know that it would be 3. But some of you may wonder, how can I be sure that 36 divided by 12 means the same thing as 3 6/10 divided by 1 2/10? Well, let me ask you, what's 8 divided by 4? You guys would say 2. Well, let's move the decimal point to the right one time, or multiply the numerator and denominator by 10 one time, and get a new fraction, 80 divided by 40. And I'd ask you, what's that? And most of you are going to say 20, but it's 80 divided by 40 is 2. So the way 8 relates to 4 is the same way that 80 relates to 40. So as long as you multiply the numerator and denominator both by the same power of 10, or the same amount of times, whatever it takes to get the number on the outside to become a whole number, it'll come out just fine. Good luck to you, my friends.